By the early 1960s, one lady dominated girls' toy sales in America: Barbie. A pop culture superstar and a fabulous brainchild of Mattel marketing genius. However, a new threat was rising from the patriarchy. If Mattel would have the hearts of every little girl, then Hasbro would capture the adventurous imagination of their rowdy brothers. And so, in a time of American patriotism, G.I. Joe came to toy shelves. Just as Barbie would have every piece of fashion and accessory imaginable, G.I. Joe would do the same with weapons, equipment, vehicles, and allies. In a market flooded with soldier action figures, don't you dare call them dolls, you commie pig. In a flooded market, one soldier stood triumphant in the end: Joe Colton himself, the original G.I. Joe. Then Vietnam happened and sales went through the shitter. It should go without saying that the late 1960s, as well as much of the 1970s, were a difficult time of transition for America. From Vietnam to Watergate to an ongoing energy crisis, love for the red, white, and blue was reaching an all-time low. By the end of the decade, a small, slightly successful science fiction movie came along and changed not just the movie industry, but also the toy industry forever. Utilizing the 3 3/4 size figures with 5 points of articulation previously seen in Fisher-Price characters, a new standard in action figure scale was set. And thanks to a massive record-breaking box office gross, the possibility of how far an action figure line could actually go was yet to be seen. As the American soldier fell out of vogue, the mythic hero of many trades was in. Even later full-scale Joe figures ventured into space, science fiction adventures, and rescue hero themes. In 1980, Ronald Reagan took his first term of office as President of the United States, and it brought American patriotism back into vogue. Before this time, strict regulations prevented the existence of children's shows that served to market products directly to them. Some saw it as a form of capitalist brainwashing, which is just preposterous. There were even laws preventing the amount of animation that could be seen in a toy commercial. However, there was no law that said you couldn't have an animated commercial for a comic book. Which is weird that nobody thought about it until that time. On May 31st, 1982, all of that changed as Marvel Comics released issue 1 of G.I. Joe, a real American hero. And the fact that that well-selling comic book may or may not have advertised an exciting new line of action figures to usher the franchise into this prosperous new decade, well, that's just Hasbro Marvel marketing genius at its finest. 2 whole years before Transformers would hit shelves, and a year before Return of the Jedi would come to theaters, G.I. Joe went on to be the hottest toy that Christmas, doing sales in the area of $50 million. That's in 1982 money. As the Reagan administration continued to explore new ways to jumpstart the economy, regulations over children's products and how they could be marketed were lifted. And with that, the first ever animated G.I. Joe miniseries premiered.
Yo, Joe! We'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, real American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra and Destro, fighting to save the day. He never gives up, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, real American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe.
And welcome Welcome back, my friends. If you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're not, well, then you know that this is my new video series, Leo Watches G.I. Joe, or as I like to call it, let's see how fast I can get a video banned in Russia. So, without any further ado, whether you're one of my friends from America or one of my friends from abroad, I say it's time we all get patriotic together. Let's get into it. On a bright, sunny American day, we are introduced to our heroes at the seemingly top-secret location of the G.I. Joe headquarters.
The new Sky Striker's a real beauty.
Now with Cobra slithering around on the loose, we need all the help we can get.
Hit the deck!
I'm gonna kick the mustard out of that crazy hot dog. He could have smeared us all over the runway.
Predating the film Top Gun by several years, one of the Joe team risks life in prison by making a needlessly reckless landing.
Hey, bacteria brain! Come down and let's discuss your future as a mental patient.
But it's cool because it turns out it's the original and legitimate girl boss, Scarlet.
Give a teammate a hand. I missed you, Duke.
You certainly did. By that much. Something's coming in below our radar level.
Led by the dastardly Major Blood, Cobra forces perform an airstrike on the G.I. Joe base. Through a series of well-animated yet needless acrobatics, the Joe team avoid heavy artillery fire.
Hey, why didn't you just yell, "Look out"?
Didn't you read my green sheet? Man of action.
This is all appropriate and within the boundaries of military protocol, I promise you.
We've got to get them airborne.
As the Joes rally, they are able to drive the Cobra forces off. However, much wreckage and wasted American tax dollars remain in the aftermath of the chaos.
I want the Joes on full alert. Cobra's up to something big.
You think? In remote whereabouts unknown, we get our first glimpse at the Cobra Temple. Hiding place and headquarters of the greatest terrorist threat the world has ever known.
He comes!
Oh, great Cobra! We await thy bidding! Give us a sign!
Identification, please.
At last, we meet the diabolical Cobra Commander and his cunning ally and weapons dealer, Destro.
We are disappointed. You were expected days ago, Destro.
The shipment was difficult to assemble, and I lost more time climbing to this ridiculously melodramatic location.
I designed the Cobra Temple to guarantee us secrecy and security. Now, what have you brought me? Yes, truly exotic substances, Destro. But will they work?
Our enemies set about their evil plans. I'll let Destro explain. He's got a much cooler voice than I do.
These three elements will fuel the device, and with it I shall bring the world to its knees.
But will it reach its target? If it goes astray, we'll look like fools.
This will guide us. The perfect homing device. One just like it is now being placed in the target zone.
Then we shall not fail. Load the mass pods quickly. It is the first step towards Cobra domination of the universe.
Just like Disney.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
G.I. Joe, First Sergeant, codename Duke, file name Hauser, Conrad S. Primary military specialty, airborne infantryman. Secondary military specialty, artillery, small arms armorer. Birthplace, St. Louis, Missouri. Grade, E8, Master Sergeant. Duke was fluent in French, German, and English when he enlisted in 1967. Graduated top of his class, Airborne School, Fort Benning. Opted for U.S. Army Special Language School. Specialized in Han Chinese and Southeast Asian dialects. Went Special Forces in 1969. Worked with tribesmen in the boonies of South Vietnam. Ran 4 different Special Forces schools. Turned on a commission in 1971. Commands by winning respect. Current assignment, Acting Sergeant, G.I. Joe Team. Also, he's a killer with the ladies. G.I. Joe Counterintelligence. Codename, Scarlet. File name, O'Hara, Shanna M. Primary military specialty, intelligence. Secondary military specialty, classified. Birthplace, Atlanta, Georgia. Grade, E5. Scarlett's father and 3 brothers were martial arts instructors. She began her training at age 9 and was awarded her first black belt at age 15. Graduated Advanced Infantry Training and Ranger School. Special Education, Covert Ops School, Marine Sniper School, Special Air Service School, Marine Taekwondo Symposium, Qualified Expert, M14, M16, M1911A1, M79, M3A1, M700, Remington Sniper Rifle, MAC-10, KX-1 Power Crossbow, Throwing Stars, Garrett, K-Bar. G.I. Joe Ranger, Codename, Stalker. File name, Wilkinson, Lonzo R. Primary military specialty, infantry. Secondary military specialty, medic, interpreter. Birthplace, Detroit, Michigan. Grade, E5. Stalker was warlord of a large urban street gang prior to enlistment. Fluent in Spanish, Arabic, French, and Swahili. Graduated top of his class, basic combat training. Advanced infantry training, top of class. Special training, U.S. Army Language School, Intelligence School. Qualified expert, M14, M16, M1911A1, Auto Pistol, M3A1 Grease Gun, M32, Pulverizer Submachine Gun. Stalker functions well under high-stress situations. Intelligent, perceptive. Moves like a jungle cat. Silent, fast, strong.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
We return to a top-secret government facility where Duke and several members of his team have been summoned by General Flagg.
Sneak attack, but I've got a real challenge for the G.I. Joe team.
I presume your request for G.I. Joe was filed correctly, General Flagg. Form BX-257, requisition order MZ-19 in triplicate.
Duke, this is Major Juanita Hooper from the Office of Budget and Accounting at the Pentagon. Locked behind those silo doors is a new space satellite of incredible capabilities. My mission is to ensure its safety until launch time tomorrow.
So you want the G.I. Joe team to try a break-in to test your defenses?
When can your team take a crack at this installation?
Right now.
The Joe team executes Duke's plan, and the soundtrack is real freaky jazzy, baby. After many carefully executed stealth maneuvers, and a series of shots of people looking at their watches, Stalker decides to blast the front door open while revving his motorcycle, real subtle-like.
The notion that the G.I. Joe team could breach these defenses was totally ludicrous.
You were saying?
Why not show them the satellite, General? They look like they could use an education.
Well, okay. Let me show it to you.
Magnificent contraption, isn't it? Too expensive for what it does, however.
And just what does it do?
This is the ultimate relay star. It can receive and send the most powerful energy to anywhere at any time.
Once it's in orbit, there'll be no safe hiding place.
You know, there's something kind of suspicious about that woman with oversized jowls. At last demonstrating their strategic advantage, Destro and Cobra use the M.A.S.S device to teleport troops inside the military installation.
No! It's not possible!
Our heroes are quickly overwhelmed.
Run, Major Hooper! I'll cover you!
Thanks. But I have other plans.
Called it.
Baroness!
Now! Finish them off!
Using contemporary projectile weapons that fire bullets, somehow, the Joes and Cobras continue firing lasers at each other.
You incompetent steelhead! Your bungling has cost me dearly!
Premature panic is the sign of an immature mind. I have mastered the device. Coordinates locked, temperature perfect. There!
I'm afraid our surrender has been cancelled.
Speaking of cancelled, Duke engages in some grab-ass with the Baroness and becomes an unwitting prisoner of Cobra.
Good grief! He's vanished, and the satellite's gone with him.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
Enemy mercenary, codename Major Blood. File name Blood Sebastian. Primary military specialty mercenary. Secondary military specialty weapons and tactics. Birthplace Sydney, Australia. Grade 04. Major. Major Blood received initial military training in the Australian Special Air Service, later joined the French Foreign Legion, worked as a military advisor in a number of countries, and is currently wanted for crimes in Rhodesia and Libya. Proficient in every form of infantry weapon in current use, Major Blood has a tactical mind like a steel trap. Qualified expert, all NATO and Warsaw Pact small arms. Major Blood writes poetry. Badly. Cobra Intelligence Officer, codename Baroness. Primary military specialty, intelligence. Secondary military specialty, fixed wing pilot. Birthplace, classified. The spoiled offspring of wealthy European aristocrats, the Baroness graduated from student radicalism into international terrorism, and finally into the ranks of Cobra. She was severely burned during a Cobra night attack operation and has had extensive plastic surgery. Rumor has it that she is the only one who knows Destro's secret identity. Qualified expert, M16, AK-47, RPG-7, Uzi, his tank operator. Her principal weakness is in the division of her loyalty between Cobra Commander and Destro. Her chief strength would seem to lie in her ability to play them against each other.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Why not try shooting at him, assholes? Fearing the wrath of television censors, Cobra Commander keeps Duke as his living hostage.
Fire! As long as we have the three precious elements, we are invincible. Orbit has been achieved. No one can stop Cobra now.
This is France. Get it?
Any luck yet, Breaker?
Nothing. What about Cobra's weird fade-in, fade-out technique? Computer says it might be a form of molecular transference. If so, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, Dr. Laszlo Vandermeer, is the world's leading expert. Last place he was seen was his farm in New England. Monumental microchips. Looks like Cobra took over every television and radio terminal in the world.
Eat your heart out, Disney.
The world. We have a power greater than any in the history of mankind. Look and tremble. This is but the first in a series of demonstrations of the awesome power of Cobra. Beg your leaders to surrender to Cobra at once. You have 24 hours. Cobra!
What is this place?
Yes, and why does this prison look so much like a prison?
They seem normal, except for those strange headbands. Those pulsing lights look like the readout on some sort of brain scanner. Water! Please! Do you have water?
It's useless to speak with the slaves, Duke. They are mindless creatures of the Cobra organization. You will soon be one of them, after you have appeared in the arena of sport.
Wow, just like Disney.
Let's take her down. We should be right over Vandermeer's farm.
The Joe team arrives at Dr. Vandermeer's farm in upstate New York. Sadly, a little too late.
Welcome to New England. And to your fight!
In a show of poor military strategy, both the Joes and Cobras duke it out foolishly, abandoning cover at all times.
Cobra. They picked my brain. They stole the secrets of M.A.S.S. You were working on the M.A.S.S device? Yes, and the only force powerful enough to counter it is another M.A.S.S device.
Then we've got to make one. Back to headquarters.
I can begin construction on the M.A.S.S device at once, but the three substances that power it are extremely rare. We must get them before Cobra does, or all is lost.
Everyone got that?
I must find a way to help you.
Okay, sweetie, you bet. Oh, wait, you talk now?
Welcome to the Cobra Arena of Sport, Duke. We are pleased.
In the Cobra Arena of Sport, Duke is forced against his will to fight. As Duke resists, Destro controls his mind with an Atari 2600 controller.
Oh, so the sport may begin. Bow! You are my slave, Duke, and soon the whole world will bow to Destro and Cobra.
The arrival of Duke's opponent reveals that he is completely shit out of luck. Wait, so I'm confused. What country is this man abducted from that Duke is fighting? Is he from the land of the giants? Did the Cobra agents give him steroids? What is happening here? It's been 40 years and I still don't understand. But that doesn't mean I'm not excited for the next episode of G.I. Joe, and I hope that you are too. In the meantime, in this playlist, I have left a video, a spotlight on voice actor Michael Bell, who plays Duke, as well as several others from G.I. Joe as well as Transformers. I hope you'll check that out in the meantime, and G.I. Joe Episode 2, Slaves of the Cobra Master, will be out in just a few short days. In the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you then, my friends.
In our next episode of G.I. Joe, Duke finds an unexpected ally in the shadows of the arena of sport, while Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and Stalker join with Snowjob in a treacherous search for the radioactive crystals of death. Cobra terrifies the world with the impossible capture of an entire army, and Duke's desperate bid for freedom seems sure to end in disaster. All in Slave of the Cobra Master, the next exciting episode of G.I. Joe, a real American hero.